Good afternoon, everyone. This is Congressman Jeff Fortenberry calling. I'm doing a live telephone town hall that is targeted to small business, primarily in Lincoln, but also in the 1st Congressional District, as well as bankers. I'm really appreciative for those of you who have been taking a little time to join us this afternoon. I wanted to give you a quick update of the situation with coronavirus, the response in terms of the healthcare initiatives that we've undertaken out of Washington, and then turn to small business considerations. The primary thing I'd like to do today, though, is hear from you. If you have any particular questions or ideas, there is a lot of anxiety around the dynamics of the impact of coronavirus on small business, and we certainly understand that and are trying to enact policies quickly that will actually not only help America get well quickly, but also help workers and help protect small businesses. I'm sorry I'm a little bit delayed. A number of you may have gotten this email just a little while ago. I just got off the phone with the Treasury Secretary who walked through a number of very helpful pieces of information. So if I could really quickly just give you an overview of what we've done thus far. Over a week ago, we passed what's called an emergency supplemental bill in Congress, about $8 billion to provide for testing and treatment and planning to try to help conquer this disease. This is a very serious moment for America. It's a very serious moment for the world, and there are a lot of unknowns out here, and you're hearing a lot of conversation about how we flatten this curve by creating social distancing. Basically, you've seen school closures. Everybody is aware of this, as well as it's starting to take effect that larger gatherings need to be not just prohibited but avoided in order for us to be able to limit or mitigate the disease spread so that the hospital medical infrastructure can absorb the cases that we do have. And if this happens over time, then the disease abates. I did send out an email to all constituents earlier today that has a pretty good graphic in it that shows how this social distancing is actually better than quarantining over time. So hopefully this begins to take hold. We've had some constraints in the medical supply process that hopefully again this week will be worked out. I just finished a telephone town hall call with a number of rural health care providers. Secondly, again, just getting off the phone with the Secretary of Treasury. Last Friday night, we passed another bill targeted at trying to protect the economy. This is no bailout for big business. Again, step one is protecting the health of America. Step two is protecting workers, people in small business primarily, who may get the disease or have to take care of someone who has the disease. And finally, it is also about protecting small businesses. So we are eagerly trying to get this bill through the Senate and make appropriate changes. There are a lot of provisions in it that you may want to know about. We're going to utilize the Small Business Administration for loans, subsidies for workers who are parts of small business that may catch the disease and have to go home and be treated, subsidies to the business directly to take care of their sick pay are being worked out as we speak. There is additional money for the Women, Infants, and Children's Program for those who have food insecurity, as well as senior nutrition programs and emergency food assistance. We're going to also, again, work through the IRS to defer any tax payments. And then there's additional discussion as to how we move money directly to small businesses who simply do not have any revenue. So that is not yet worked out, but these are things that are under consideration. Today, I'm happy to be joined by Mayor Leary and Galen Baird, who is kind enough to join me on this call as well and is willing to listen to comments. She declared an emergency in the city of Lincoln today. And I believe we have the Small Business Administrator of the state, Leanne Mylabar, on the phone as well. So I'm going to stop there and see if any of you have any questions or ideas or comments back to me. Again, it's a fluid situation, but your government is acting and trying to act quickly. And frankly, it is very helpful to me. I'm on what's called the Appropriations Committee, and we're part of the key writing, authorizing and writing infrastructure in the House of Representatives. We're the key committee that actually moves a lot of this legislation. So anything that you provide to me is actually very helpful. So let me go ahead and open it up to a few questions. If you have a question, go ahead and press 0 on your phone, and we'll try to get to as many as we can. If we don't get to every question, you can press 1 on your phone and leave me a message, and I'll be happy to review that. So again, 0 if you want to ask a question, And let's now go to Lincoln. Hi, are you there?
Congressman Fortenberry, this is Lincoln Zaire with Hanson
Yeah.
Enterprises. I appreciate you and the Mayor Barrett on the phone today. I just listened to Governor Pete's comments about limiting to 10 gatherings of 10 or more. He was very specific about saying that's not going to apply to businesses that have more than 10 in an office. I'm concerned about our construction job sites as to whether that applies to them. Secondarily, within the course of the last 2 hours, I have received emails from no less than 4 tenants asking us to consider rent abatement or rent concessions in light of them having to shut down all or a part of their businesses. So, not sure how the comments you're making about direct subsidies into small business, but when there's a landlord circumstance like that, it's going to end up coming to my doorstep.
Lincoln, thank you very much for your question. I don't know if the 10 or more applies to a construction work site. I don't have any information on that. That's a fine question. Let's try to get additional information and get back to you on that. You're not the first one to tell me that tenants are asking for certain concessions. It's an understandable response when particularly small businesses are facing cash flow crises at the moment. Again, we don't have a number yet, but for businesses that do not have any income because of the negative multiplier effects of people getting sick, and particularly in the hospitality and travel industry where things are just slowing to a crawl, they're going to be cash flow crunched. One thing that I am suggesting, and it's coming from the bankers, is giving regulatory flexibility for them to be able to do deferral on principal and interest payments. This will probably work through the Small Business Association once these details are worked out, and I anticipate this within the next week. Does that help you?
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, it does.
Okay. Thank you so much for the question. Let's now go to, Lynn, you on the line?
Hi, yeah, Lynn Fisher, Congressman, Great Place Properties here in Lincoln. So my biggest concern, my biggest concern is that within the last, 3-4 days, we've seen lots of different emergency steps being taken, and I see that it's really creating somewhat of a panic, particularly when it comes to retail. You go out to Costco and Hy-Vee and different places, and people are just, really kind of going overboard with, buying way, way, way more than they can probably use even in the short term. So what can you say about these steps that are taken nationally, the state level and the city level? What can we tell people, or what can you tell people that would help them to realize that we need to all kind of just sit back and not get too crazy?
Well, it's an interesting question. Last night myself, I went to one of our major grocery chains at about after 11, and a lot of employees at that time were out restocking, and so there were stacks of stuff everywhere with one exception, toilet paper, which is an odd phenomena. But and that it looked like meat was a little bit low. I think that in terms of our food supply, honestly, this is anecdotal on my part, but it's a good question, and I need to find a more considered answer. I'm what's called a ranking member of the Agricultural Appropriations Subcommittee in Congress, so we will try to get this question to USDA as quickly as possible. What does our supply line look like? I think in terms of food, we're in pretty good shape. It's probably weeks. And so I think as people see that these things are being restocked and there's no need to rush or get in a real panic about that. However, with that said, I think some normal stocking up, particularly with kids at home and closures at this point being a bit unknown, is just going to be a reality. So, Lynn, that's a tough question. Obviously, we don't want to panic people, but at the same time, everybody has to be prudent and take some self-responsibility here. But I think that's a good question for me to figure out just how long, in terms of a supply chain or I guess inventory of basic stocks of food that we have. And I believe anecdotally it's about 3 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Let's now go to, Justin, are you on the phone? Hi, Justin. You there? Okay, let's go to the next person. If you'll hold one moment. Hi, Rex. Rex, you on the line?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Hey, fine, thanks.
So I'm concerned. I have a small business that I just started last September, and my business is in direct contact with the customers. I go to their home and provide services to them. What kind of benefits do you have for small businesses when the phone is no longer ringing? There's going to be no income coming in probably the next 2 to 3 weeks, and this is how I make a living, and I have no other source of income. Do you have something to say in regards to how those of us with small businesses that directly interact with the people? I mean, we have to go to the hardware stores and buy our products and then take it to the people's homes, and you know, when we can't go there and we can't go to the people's homes, how are we supposed to make a living?
No, it's the right question, Rex, and I recognize this is a very tough moment. It's part of the reason I'm doing the call. Again, I just got off the phone with the Treasury Secretary. We had a conference call with him. He is clearly aware of the dynamics that it doesn't matter if you're getting a deferral on interest and principal payments on a loan when you have no cash flow at all, when you can't keep your doors open. So he was very quick to point out that we're going to work on something that is exactly targeted to the circumstances that you just described, where there is no business income coming in. So I don't have a clear answer for you right now. However, that is on the list. Really fast relief to fund your payroll. And I don't know if that's going to be a direct subsidy or some other mechanism yet, again, through the SBA or another federal entity. But that is under consideration as we speak. The House of Representatives, by the way, all the members are back in their districts. The United States Senate has not yet passed the bill that we passed Friday night. They do need to make some adjustments to it. What you're talking about may be one of the adjustments that's made. But I would anticipate within a week's time, we should have a better answer for you in terms of money that would flow directly to you, as long as you can show, obviously, that you've got severe cash flow restraints. So it's a great question. It's the right question. And just keep in touch with me, or I'll try to provide public communications about how this unfolds, because it's really, really important. We've got a situation here, what's called a negative multiplier. As you can't pay payroll, people are laid off. As you can't buy things, there's a contraction in the economy. So there's a variety of things that are being undertaken, both to protect everyone's health, but at the same time protect the viability, the ability of small business to survive this contraction. So we have some confidence that it's coming. I just don't have the number for you yet, okay? Hang in there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rex. Yeah. Let's now go to Carl. Hi, Carl. Are you on the line? Hi, Carl.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick question on what constitutes a small business. Is it amount of employees?
Yeah, that's a fair question, because there's going to be certain exemptions of this based on size of employment. There's going to be certain less restrictions for those under 50 employee, certain benefits not available to those above 500 employees. It just depends on the category of benefit that's allowed. I don't have the best answer for you in that regard, because I don't have the specifics of that in front of me, but those are some of the broad parameters. What is the size of your employees, number of employees, if you don't mind me asking?
We are at about 130. We're in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
They're not all full-time.
And they're not all full-time, but we're not exactly small business either.
No.
So if we get to the point where we're closing everything down, then it becomes a problem for us.
Is that a plan to close restaurants?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would think under the scenarios in which we are talking about now, don't hold it to me, but you would qualify for the benefits that are likely to come in short order. Okay.
Okay.
But again, I'm sorry that the restaurant industry is particularly hard hit right now. So the best you can do. The other thing that the Treasury Secretary did say is, look, feeding people is absolutely critical right now. If drive-throughs can stay open and deliveries can stay open, that's helpful to everyone, because, again, we don't want a disruption of any kind of a food delivery. So it's a fair point, and stay tuned for more information on that. So thank you very much, Carl.
That's my thing.
Okay, let me take the next question. And by the way, anybody who wishes to ask a question, go ahead and press 0 on your phone. If you can't stay on the line, just press 1 and leave me a message if you'd like to. Let's now go to Echo. Are you on the line?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
My name is Echo Bell. I own a small business called Bell Solutions. We serve other small businesses and startups. That is our industry. And Rex asked some questions that kind of got some of my answers. So my questions have to do with the unemployment side. Are there requirements or what is a small business going to have to prove for their employees to get unemployment under this rule? And will it continue to be paid at 50% up to the $440? And lastly on that, can owners of small businesses take advantage of the unemployment in this case?
Don't know the answer to your last question. Again, what we're going to try to do is keep businesses cash flowed who cannot stay open. The enhancement of unemployment benefits is a part of this bill package. I just don't have the specifics of that for you. I think that's a fair question. I do have staff listening, and what I'd like to do, Echo, is probably get more detailed information on your very good questions and send those back to you. Can we do that? And in fact, if you wouldn't mind sending me an email and writing those down specifically, it would help us address those. Okay?
Absolutely, we'll do, sir.
Okay, just go to my website. Just go to Fortenberry. You'll find it, and then if you'd email those questions, that'd be great. We'll get back to you. They're very astute questions. Thank you very much. Okay, let's now go to hi, Karina. Are you there?
Yes.
Karina.
Karina.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Karina. We just opened a business 2 weeks ago that's an event space for 50 or less people. And I guess I just want to reiterate, we need to get subsidies rather than loans. I can't really take on another loan. So I'm just really wanting to kind of impress that onto you for that need.
Yes. Oh, gosh, what awful timing. I'm sorry. Oh, especially for an event space.
Really great. People are really loving it, but you can't plan for this.
I guess there's no way to teleconference everybody together into one space, right, with multiple TV screens or something. I'm sorry about that. Gosh, you're being hit the hardest again, along with hospitality and restaurants and travel and others. But look, again, let me emphasize this. I don't have a number yet, but for businesses with no cash flow, there is going to be some kind of direct assistance. So stand by for information on that, and we'll try to provide it as quickly as that becomes part of at least the deliberations on the Senate side. It may be such that the House has to return quickly and take up a third package. So this is like 3 innings thus far. We've responded to the healthcare crisis. Hopefully, again, medical supplies and flow of information is better this week. Disease peaks. Social distancing helps us spread out the phenomena. Businesses, workers are taken care of, and then small businesses are cash flowed. That's the threefold plan that's coming together, but it's going to take us some days, so hang in there, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Let's now go to, Dennis, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Is it Dennis, or I'm sorry, Denise, I'm sorry. Hi, Denise.
Hi, how are you? I'm glad you had the phone call tonight. Yes. I have a question. Can we hold off sales tax? I see that's coming due this week. Not only do I have a small boutique, but I also work for a larger company. And since we're going to have to be closing, we're a public forum, to the public, we're going to have to try and fund the payroll to keep the people. And this is why I don't see the argument on the left and right. You want to help businesses, even larger businesses, so everyone is not on unemployment. So I really want them to understand that and for something like that to be in. And also a delay in, paying these sales taxes and such, where we have more time because the cash flow has been stagnant.
Yeah, it's a fair question. I've actually thought of that question myself. That's a question of the governor and or mayor. Perhaps if the mayor would like to say something in that regard, if there's been any discussion of that, since that's more of a state-local issue than federal, you're welcome, Madam Mayor. I don't think there has been any discussion yet of a delay, of a sales tax delay, or any other property or real property tax collections. Is that correct, Madam Mayor?
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you for hosting this town hall, and thank you to all of you for participating. This is Mayor Leary and Gaylor Baird in Lincoln, and
We are actively working with the Chamber of Commerce and the Lincoln Independent Business Association to continue to open up these lines of communication. We want to understand all of your concerns and be as responsive to them as possible. We understand that along with the health and safety of our residents, livelihoods are at stake. And so I just want to acknowledge that first. When it comes to sales tax, we certainly are anticipating that we are going to see a drop in sales tax revenue coming into the city. Whether or not there's an additional intentional reduction in that is still something that we would have to look at. Here's the rub of the three-legged stool that funds our first responders, our public health services, the people who are on the front lines of fighting coronavirus. Sales tax is the largest source of revenue. It's what we depend on to provide critical police, fire, and medical response, along with the public health folks who are coordinating our incident command structure. So at this time, we are trying to look at all kinds of options to support our community, and maintaining critical city services is our first and foremost objective.
Sure.
So I don't have a good answer for you right now, but that is
maybe
our key concern.
Maybe you can get some funding for that as well. As for the unemployment, I had someone who was recently on unemployment, and it took them 4 weeks. They had a new system or an upgrade, but it took longer for people to get paid. So that needs to be looked into if more and more people are going to be needing funding. So please make a note of that to make sure that they have their errors of the new system worked out. That would be very helpful.
Denise, that is part of the federal spending bill as it was considered by the House to help states better enact the systems for better, quicker movement of money in addition to more money. So that's part of this. Again, everything's moving so fast. It hasn't been enacted yet, but that is part of what the House passed just last Friday night at 1 a.m. Okay. So a lot of this will unfold through the week, and again, watch for details. We'll try to put together a more detailed sheet as well of what's in these specific federal packages that are coming our way. And yes, trust me, the mayor has already spoken to me about additional funds that may come to the federal level to help municipalities who are struggling, particularly with first responders and other infrastructure issues that are going to hit us as, again, the multiplier effects negatively affect communities. So thank you very much, Denise. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Right.
Let's go to, Colby, are you on the line? Colby, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, hi.
Okay, hey, sorry. So you might have answered this already. Sorry, I kind of got put on the call right in the middle. So I own a really small business downtown Lincoln. We just serve like smoothies and teas. And so, I just wanted to make sure that so are we not allowed to be open? I'm not 100% clear. And if we do have to shut down, are we still able to do deliveries and curbside pickup?
Well, on the deliveries and curbside pickup, I think absolutely. Again, the Secretary of the Treasury just spoke to the issue of those who serve food. Please keep serving food.
Yes.
Now, regarding the gathering space, that I don't know. That's a bit of an unknown. I did not hear what the governor just said. Maybe the mayor did in terms of gatherings of 10 or more. There might be certain exemptions in that regard. I don't know yet.
I can chime in here. The governor's guidance was that it does not apply to business operations. So that would not apply to you in your operation of your business, and we are encouraging people to do deliveries. So thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Again, this is Congressman Jeff Fortenberry. For any of you who may have joined us later, I'm on the phone with Mayor Leary and Gaylord Baird, and we are taking questions from small business people about what the federal government has done thus far in responding to the coronavirus, both medically and in terms of assistance to workers as well as assistance to small business. If you want to ask me a question, go ahead and press 0 on your phone, and we'll put you in the line. Hi, Bud, are you there?
Yes, Congressman. Bud Steinhorst from Lincoln Independent Business Association. Just a couple of real quick questions for your staff. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for including us to send out to our members. Is there a way at the end of the call that you might be able to send something back to myself and other groups included in the call that kind of outlines some of the things that you've talked about, some of the kind of an FAQ from the questions that came up, and then any like websites or resources that we can direct people to in order to just, share as much information as we can going out to the membership.
Yeah, I have to too. In fact, I've instructed my own staff to start working on pulling together something that's digestible from all the various sources of information that are flowing from the bills that we passed, from things that are under consideration, from the conversation I just had with the Treasury Secretary, to certain. We'll try to coordinate with the state, but I need to mostly stay in my lane as a federal response. Again, it's a threefold response to help with protect America's health, America's workers, and America's small business. This is not going to be a big business bailout. We recognize very clearly the serious impacts this is having on cash flow, particularly a small business where most people in America work. So that's a great suggestion. Again, I'm going to need a little bit of time to do it. We might even be able to send this particular call out, since we'll record it, to everyone if you find it helpful. We might want to just summarize it, though, as you suggested, but we'll have to see afterward. But we'll hopefully have that done in short order and get that over to you if you'd like to distribute it.
Absolutely. And then if you have, if any resources come up, if we can get on a listserv as you're putting stuff out, I'd love to share that to our people.
Okay, great. Okay, happy to. Thank you so much. Let's now go to, Ramsey, are you there?
Yes, this is Dorothy Ramsey. Thank you for taking the call, and thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
My question is kind of twofold. I'm concerned about the level of confusion amongst all the different news outlets. I saw at the grocery store today, National Enquirer says a miracle cure has been found. I tend to doubt that. Facebook says that the World Health Organization offered us tests and we said no. And so part one of my question is, if that's true, is there a way we can go back and say, wait a minute, we made a mistake. We now say yes to your offer of a bunch of tests. And then the broader expansion of that question is, where is the ultimate really good source of the right news? It's not the National Enquirer, it's not Facebook, and is it the CDC's government website, or where do we go for reliable? Because there's rumors and rumors and rumors flying all around.
It's a great point, Dorothy. Yes, the CDC, Center for Disease Control, is a central stopping place on how to control the spread of the disease and best practices. What I'm committed to doing is trying to, again, organize a set of an overview of the policies that are unfolding as we speak that will actually help small businesses and workers. Some of this is fluid, though. There are also, I think it's going to be daily press conferences by the White House. The University of Nebraska Med Center's website is also giving daily updates on the medical dynamics of this. So, yes, don't read the National Enquirer, okay?
No kidding. That was a no-brainer. I just wasn't sure about the thing about the World Health Organization and then, of course, the broader issues. So I will note that UNL is another source. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, thanks for participating today. Let's go to the next question. Hi, Sam, are you there? Hey, Sam.
This is Sam.
Hey, Sam.
I'm calling from Lincoln. Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm a resident of Lincoln, Nebraska. I had a question, a couple of them. Number one, the government's $20 trillion in debt, and they go to zero interest, which didn't do the banks any favors. And, when we're insolvent like that and printing money, it concerns me. And the other thing that concerns me is different subject. On those food handlers, I think we should have them wear masks. They say the mask doesn't prevent you from catching it, but it does from spreading it. And you pick up this food that's been prepared by somebody, I think we should have some regulations in place that are more stringent than we currently have. That's basically all I had.
Okay, those are good observations, Sam. Thank you very much. I don't know if the health departments have issued any guidance on food handling. Obviously, it's the common sense stuff of washing your hands and sanitizing things. A number of restaurants, as well as retailers, I've already seen in my own personal email, have emailed out their own policies to give some assurance to people that they are undertaking aggressive sanitary policies. or sanitization policies in their own individual restaurants. I'm not sure about the mask, if there's been any government guidance. I just don't know. Regarding the $22 trillion debt, yes, sir, major problem. Yes, sir. And yet this is an emergency, and we're going to throw more money at it. It's just the realities. Thank you very much for your call. Let's go now to, hi, Janelle. Are you on the phone?
Hello?
Janelle, you there? Yes, hi.
Hello. Actually, this is Melissa. I am the general manager at the historical Rogers Halted Bed and Breakfast. And I'm kind of piggybacking on Karina's call about we are not just impacted by just this next couple of weeks, but we've had cancellations all the way into May. So we're not seeing any revenue for months. We just purchased the bed and breakfast in November, and we again cannot afford to get any more loans. So we're kind of worried more about our 3 employees that we employ, that they won't have anything, and we're just worried about how we take care of them.
First of all, thank you for your concern for your people. I'm sorry about the timing of the purchase. This has just got to be really painful for you. At the same time, what you do is so important to the vitality of Nebraska and our welcoming spirit. Again, let me just repeat what was discussed with the Treasury Secretary. As this next week unfolds, there is going to be specific help for small businesses that have no income. And he specifically mentioned hospitality and restaurants as well, because you're on the front lines of feeling the effects of this. There are other businesses as well, though, that are going to have the negative multiplier effects. You're particularly on the front line, so watch as this bill unfolds. There may be some direct assistance to help you cash flow for the moment to be able to stay in business. Our goal is obviously to have you stay in business and do as much as you can to take care of the people that are under your authority and employ. Again, in this bill that the House has passed, if people are sick, we're going to provide some direct subsidies to you for their pay to leave. But the direct cash flow question is still an open one, and it's not resolved yet, but there is intention to do so, and to do so quickly. So if you can hang in there a little while longer, we should have better information through the week. Okay, Janelle?
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Excuse me, Congressman, this is Mayor Leary Gaylor Baird. I just wanted to clarify. I just was on the phone with the governor, just now took a call from him. And for the caller who asked about her restaurant where she has smoothies, there is guidance from the governor and the CDC that she limit her patrons in dine-in to 10. So that does apply to her, while it does not apply to other major businesses that maybe have people teleworking or working in their facilities and factories. But for restaurants, 10 patrons dining in is the maximum we'd like to see, and we appreciate her efforts to cooperate with those guidelines.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification, Madam Mayor. Let's go now to, Steve. Are you there? Hey, Steve.
Yeah, this is Steve, yes.
Yeah, hey.
Part of what I do is, or what we've been doing, is to do a lot of face-to-face conferences online to avoid meeting with people. And I mean, we don't normally do that, but now we're doing that. And one of the things I've been noticing is from time to time we seem to be lacking the bandwidth to do that, to do what we want to do. And so I'm wondering if there's issues with a lack of bandwidth in our area.
Okay, I have a broad policy answer to that that's not going to be specific enough to your question. Maybe the mayor could give some insight into that, though. I'll talk about what the federal response is before the coronavirus hit. We just plowed about $600 million through, again, the Agricultural Appropriations Committee for what we call rural broadband to create an ecosystem of livability so that both precision agriculture and telemedicine and telework are much more integrated into rural communities. But again, that's longer-term planning, and it's not immediate issue. It's not addressing the immediate issue. Perhaps the mayor can give additional comments on that.
Sure, thank you. And I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you a resident of the city of Lincoln? I didn't catch where you're from, sir.
Yes, I'm in
Okay.
Lincoln, and
Great.
I'm
Well,
just wondering if we have if there's anything we can do to improve the broadband for internet connections.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that we are fortunate in our community to have a fiber to the home capability. The work that we've done to build out that infrastructure with the public-private partnership and ALLO has helped, and we have, of course, more competition in the industry now. What I can say today is that it's likely that our the capability of broadband will just be slower. I think that the system wasn't designed to have the entire community trying to get on it during the day. So you might see that the rate of access or the rate of speeds of download and upload is a little slower, but I don't anticipate that it would decline in access. We'll continue to investigate our tech infrastructure and how we can support it as we move forward. And I appreciate you calling attention to that issue.
Well, I use ALLO, and it's been great. And I have a gig of speed, but as I'm conferencing with others across the Wi-Fi, I've noticed that sometimes our conversations break up, and so that's why I'm just asking the question. If we're getting overloaded, I don't want us. If there's something easy to do, I just don't want us not to do it.
Well, we're continuing to work with our Chief Information Officer, David Young, here in the city, and we will continue to work with our private sector partners to try and make sure that there's as little disruption as possible in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity and speed. And I think we might expect some slowdowns because of the demand for people teleworking and at home quarantined or because of school closures, but we're working to make sure that we have the best service available.
Okay, thanks, Steve. I hope that helps. Thank you. Appreciate the question. Let's now go to, Maggie. Maggie, you there?
Hi, Congressman. How are you? And
Hi.
To our mayor. Thanks for doing this conferencing. This is very helpful. I work in the financial services business, and I was just sitting here thinking about and listening to some of the desperation in the voices of how to not only continue their business, but which means to keep their employees hired and working too, so they have payroll. I was thinking about the qualified retirement accounts, which in the financial services business, we've always actually worked with people to say, this is the last place you go for a desperation of money. But if an individual before they're 59 and a half years of age, and they take money out of a 401k or an IRA qualified, that they are hit with a 10% penalty. And I was wondering if there's been any discussion along that line, at least to address, you're trying to work to get money into the states, into the hands of families and businesses. But, let's be realistic. There's lag time. No matter how much you try to hurry and how many hours you work on it. There's people who have needs, and that's some of the desperation you're seeing in buying, too.
This is a great idea. One of the things that we are trying to do collectively as a legislative body, as a Congress, is compile good ideas. I'm going to take that one down and submit it as well. One of the things that came up earlier, I didn't get to ask my question with the Secretary of Treasury. I had to jump onto this call, but again, it's deferral of loan and interest payments, and that comes down to regulators having the flexibility to do that. A lot of banks may be willing, with good customers and good customer relationships, to do that and just build it into financing over time. This is another one of those dynamics of financial flexibility that could provide liquidity quickly for people. I'm going to write that down and submit that as we're all gathering ideas as a Congress this week, and see if that one in some way could or should be considered. With everything, there's a trade-off. Obviously, retirement accounts are obviously long-term planning tools to protect us into our older years. And so there's this great hesitation to touch those monies except for certain decided purposes. But a national pandemic may very well qualify. So anyway, I appreciate that. That's a good idea, and I'm going to bring it forward.
Very good.
Thank you,
well,
Maggie.
All
okay.
of you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang in there. Thank you very much for what you do. Let's go to Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Are you on the line? Hey, Jeff.
Yeah, hello.
Jeff, you on the line? Hey, how are you?
Yeah, Jeff Johnson from Lincoln. Was wondering about independent contractors, realtors, builders, framers, roofers that don't have a salary. What is the plan for them?
I haven't thought through that in that level of granular detail. Obviously, an independent contractor has their own business, but if they can't get paid, they have no cash flow. So I would think that they would be able to qualify for whatever we devise this week in terms of direct subsidies to a small business. Now, it may be such that if contracts are already in order, or already obliged, that it might be incumbent upon the small business to pay the independent contractor as a part of the subsidy that you do get to the federal government. I just don't know, Jeff. That's a fair question. I just don't know.
Okay.
I think we'll have to watch how that unfolds. It's a reasonable question.
Goes back to, Lincoln on his very first question I think you got was talking about workplace for contracting and more than 10 people, and it will affect contractors.
Yeah. Okay, good. That gives me another thing to think through. All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Let's go now to hi, Alan. Are you on the line?
Hi, this is Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. Just wondering, we are a small business owners, and we do have 20 employees, so what do you do about that? I mean, right now we still are fixing cars. Most of our employees don't have 2 weeks of time paid off. We can't afford to pay them 2 weeks to take the time off.
Well, have you seen a decline in business yet?
A little bit, yes. A couple customers have canceled. There's a couple jobs for next week.
Mm-hmm. Well, the reason I ask you that question is probably you're a second or third order tiered effect of a contraction. So in other words, people need their cars, they're going to need to have them fixed. That's probably a priority expenditure of people. But as people get either sick or they may be laid off, they're going to have less liquid cash. So they're going to spend that on food and child care and other things. They might delay car expenditures. But I would think you're a little bit down the line in terms of negative effects because transportation for people is pretty important. However, with that said, there's going to be, again, small business administration loans available at lower rates if you need to cash flow payroll or interest and principal payments on certain loans that you have. So those dynamics will be unfolding this week, and there may even be direct subsidies for businesses that just don't have the cash flow. Again, I don't know what's going to qualify a person, how you're going to get qualified for that, but this is going to come pretty quickly, I would suggest. So just stay tuned and watch the public information in this regard, and we'll try to provide it. But some people have been on this call that are in the hospitality industry and have got all their bookings canceled. So I would think I think the transportation, there's certain sectors that are getting hit really hard by this and other sectors that are actually doing well. And then frankly, honestly, people with strong online businesses are doing pretty well. I mean, as everything shifts away from face-to-face contact to online, there's other aspects of this that are creating opportunity. You're a little different in that you're a direct service provider. So we should have better... go ahead. Sorry.
To plan ahead, do we pay our sales and use tax that's due in 4 days? That's $15,000. And do we pay property taxes, which is another $15,000? And do we pay federal and state taxes, or do we hold on to it so we have enough cash flow to float our employees' payroll for the next 3 weeks?
Yes, you're going to have a deferral on your federal taxes. That is one thing that is going to happen. You will have the flexibility to defer tax payments. The mayor would be very mad at me if I said there's going to be a deferral on sales taxes. I don't control that, and that's those are state and local issues. But on the federal tax, you will see that a deferral allowed sometime soon. So that's one area you can plan around. It's not in law yet, but you can start to plan around that. Okay?
But federal only for now. Not
Correct.
property tax, not sales and use tax.
I have no information nor control over that since that's local and state. Yes.
How are they going to contact us, business owners, and let us know?
Well, stay tuned for information coming out of my office. The general media these are very specific questions that are harder to dig out of the general media. So the head of one of the business associations just asked me to put together an information sheet on this. So we're going to do that. I have your name here, and if you would be kind enough to send me an email, though, and say we would like any business information that you have, it helps us create our own list. Would you be willing to do that for me, Kim?
Sure.
Okay, and then we'll get information out to you as we have it. I did send a broader email out this morning regarding the medical dynamics of the disease's progress. So some of you may have gotten that. I would suggest you look at it. It's from leading medical experts, just short clips from them over the weekend. But there is nothing comparable regarding the potential subsidy assistance here to workers and businesses yet. So I have some obligation to try to create this quickly as I'm hearing from you all. So we'll try to get on that. I need a little bit of time, and a lot of this is still in flux. But through the week, it will be decided. But thank you very much, Kim, for the questions. Very thoughtful. All right. Let's now go to Dave. Hi, Dave. Are you there?
Yes, this is Dave with Dave's Heating and Air.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call today,
Sure.
Congressman. My question is with my customers. My biggest concern is with my customers, their safety and their health. And should I be sending my techs out doing preventative maintenance or concentrate on just emergency calls, and what would constitute as an emergency call? And
yeah, you mean in terms
of... Would I be restricted from sending them out?
Well, somebody who's quarantined in their home, I would suggest that that's a problem for you to go inside. Obviously, some of your work can be done outside, but I would think that would be a problem. That's a hard question that I would have to defer to a health official. Maybe there's some type of masking that you could wear that would provide a certain level of safety in the event of an emergency situation. Obviously, if someone is elderly and sick and they don't have heat, you're going to have to help. We're going to have to help them. That's a tough one, Dave.
Mayor,
yes.
May I
yes.
in? So
please.
I don't know if this will be helpful, but for non-emergency calls to Lincoln Police Department, for example, they have created a list of questions, screening, that they call doorway triage. So they're trying to determine whether or not someone in the home has the set of symptoms, the fever, shortness of breath, or a cough. And if they do, then they take a different course of action. You could try to potentially set up a similar screening for your customers as a way of protecting your employees. And I guess I would refer you to LPD's non-emergency line to get more information about that, as well as to our health department at health.lincoln.ne.gov for additional guidance about protecting your employees.
And so my question, or I guess my concern is, what can I do for my employees to protect them also, so that they, can do their job in that situation? We do not have the products or the training to, for this situation. So what do we do in this situation?
Well, Dave, let me offer you this, and this is again, there's a lot of dynamics to all of this, and so this is the first encounter I've had with this particular question. I think maybe something just as a prudent business move, if someone has a call put into you, just to ask them if they are quarantined because of the coronavirus, and if they are, perhaps with the mayor's permission here, we could say, let's together contact the Lincoln Health Department to see what next steps we can take to get you the assistance you need. Because we don't want to expose your employees to anyone who is sick, but at the same time, heating in a time of winter is a pretty critical service. Madam Mayor, does that sound like a fair thing to do?
Yes, absolutely. And our hotline at the health department has folks staffing it that can answer these kinds of questions as well, and that number is 441-8006, and I'd be absolutely want to work with you, Congressman, to provide that kind of information to employers in Lincoln.
Okay, good. Dave, is that helpful to you? That's a start anyway.
It was. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, good. I think this has been a very good discussion, everyone. Again, if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, go ahead and press 1 on your phone and leave me a message, and we will try to put out some overall information on what the dynamics are of federal legislation that are coming your way. Again, the issues here are trying to protect America's health, America's workers, as well as America's small businesses. And thank you all for what you do in the community. It's very important to the vitality and well-being of our great community. And thank you, Madam Mayor, for being on the line with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman, for your leadership.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.